Hey Strat fans, what's going on? It's me, Colonel Strat, the strategy extraordinaire here. So if I sound a little bit different today, that's because I'm not wearing my helmet because number one, it's hot, and two, I think my webcam broke on me. So unfortunately, I'll just have a static image of myself on the back on down here for y'all. I still plan on wearing the helmet. I just don't know. I don't know what happened with my webcam, so I'm gonna have to fix that after the wedding. So this will be my last video until my wedding date, which is this Sunday. So I'm gonna be taking a little bit of a hiatus after that. I will return on the 17th back to regular scheduled content, and I'm hoping to grab myself a better webcam by then, so that we can continue to show my glorious helmet to everyone. So for today, anyway, let's get into the guide here. So we're going to cover Slannesh. Now Slannesh is probably my least favorite chaos god, not just because it's the god of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but also because her playstyle doesn't really appeal to me as much as the other gods. Slaanesh is all about speed, all about being fast, boy, and she and her disciples are really, really good at just outflanking things, using flanking, and just outrunning stuff. So we're gonna play Nakari. Now Nakari has one of the worst starts in Immoral Empires to date. He starts right on the island of Ulthuan, with all the high elves angry as can be with him. Now, he does get a nice amount of bonus with some allegiance points and vassal tribute, and he starts with a decent army with some Hellflayers and Hellstriders and Fiends. But again, he's surrounded by enemies, by high elves they negate demons because the demons don't have much armor because they're Slaanesh, and then they only have physical resist. So you're pretty much going to be relying a lot on Marauders and human units, but they're just not going to be so hot against high elves. But without further ado, let's get into the campaign.
Will you save the tastes of ecstasy with me?
I'm not sure I hit that, Nakari, but thanks for the offer. Anyway, Slaanesh is a very tempting chaos race. So their god is all about temptation and all of that. So they have a lot of special abilities that most other races and factions will not have. Now,
my divine master yearns us move.
Pleasure cultist. Now the biggest thing you'll see is this thing right here, devotees. Now, you can amass devotees by raiding, looting, sacking settlements, and, just the higher the control and income, more devotees you'll get, and you can use these to proliferate cults. And pretty much Slaanesh is the only chaos faction that can infiltrate all around the world pretty easily without having to use agent actions. So, Slaanesh can click this button, and random cults will just pop up everywhere. Now you see this symbol across our enemies. This is seductive influence. So pretty much when this reaches 100%, you can force vassalage on this faction and just make them your vassal, whip them into becoming your vassal. Now you actually start okay because the Scourge of Cain Dark Elves here aren't going to be as angry at you as the other high elves here, but the Scourge of Cain high elves are they're not as good because they just get wrecked by Alariel and then wrecked by these other high elves pretty easily. So you can easily get yourself killed in this campaign as Nakari, and I hope that later on more Slaanesh characters come that aren't in such a I hate to use the word, but gangbang of a start. Even though Slaanesh likes it like that, it's not fair. it can become a pretty challenging start. Anyway, now that we've explained cults and all that, onto her demonic unholy manifestations. So Slaanesh has pain for pleasure is her first one. I believe all your units will take 6% damage, but you get a buff for weapon strength, charge bonus, speed, and campaign movement. Then you get Carnival of the Damned, which it disables your movement, but you get some devotees, and enemy growth goes down in the province, in an enemy province. And then Infernal Martyrdom, which gives you which ups your seduce units budget. I'll get into that in a bit, as well as Slannesh Corruption, helpful for spreading corruption. Then Cult Uprising, which it lasts for 5 turns, and a disciple army will be summoned near this army each turn, but campaign movement is disabled, and so you won't be able to stay there, but you can summon disciple armies next to you. So it's nice to use. I would use this one the most, but it requires a lot of corruption, so you have to already be doing pretty well. And by then, you're not going to really need it as much. Slaanesh is, her technology, not the best, but it is okay. I mean, I always start with the growth one. Slaanesh should be pretty good with growth, but she's not as good as Nurgle. The tiers that the monogod factions have, I just really think they need like a big old rehaul, like a rehash, because they just aren't as good as the other ones. Yeah, and they get some bonus first Conate factions, which is Khorne is her enemy. So again, you complete. There's 6 of these. I think you have to complete. You have to get up to here to unlock them, and then you also have to unlock them with buildings. Which I don't really like that you have to unlock them with buildings, even though it is better than researching a specific number of technologies. But that's just my personal pet peeve. Now, Slaanesh is very unique with her diplomacy, though, compared to the other Chaos factions. So you see, you have these seductive influence, and you can influence over them.
Your time with me is precious.
The more influence you have, whether you beat them in battle, put a cult in their area, or give them a gift of Slaanesh, which I believe you give them a gift of Slaanesh when you beat them in battle, they'll start to become more corrupt towards you, and that'll improve your diplomatic relations, and also will fill up this, where you can activate with some devotees cost to dominate them, and they'll become fully seduced, and be your vassal. So that's interesting with the diplomacy. So Slaanesh, in theory, could dominate a lot of factions. There are certain races that can't be dominated. It's mostly for elves, humans. I don't know if dwarves count, but I think it's elves and humans mostly that can be dominated. Every other race, like lizardmen, can't be dominated. Just because they're, of their thing. Skaven can't be dominated. Chaos dwarves can't be dominated. I know they can't be. I don't know if dwarves can be or not, but I would assume no. But I don't know. I just know there are certain ones that can be and certain ones that can't. But the biggest one is humans and elves. And they're the easiest too. You'll also get some bonuses while fighting their armies. So, with that out of the way, now let's get into some army compositions. Alright, and here we are with the tier 1. So, for tier 1, it looks pretty basic, pretty bare bones. So we have some devoted marauders of Slaanesh. These guys, I love the look of their, spear hand, claw hands, whatever that is. It looks really cool, and they're one of the most unique marauder units in the game. They're not as great as other Slaanesh units, but really at this time you're not going to get too many. You're going to have choose between these guys and demonettes, and demonettes are not good as a full force, I don't believe. just because they have a problem with the demonic ability, and they're not as good at holding as these other ones, even though they did get a slight buff. It's just mostly because of their demonic trait that they fall short. Even though they do only have 5 extra armor than demonettes, demonettes have a lot more punch. They only have 100 entities, and they also have, demonic. But anywho, getting back to the Marauders, they're pretty decent for a starting unit. They have the Mark of Slannesh, which gives them the Strider attribute, which means they aren't affected by terrain. They're ignored. Terrain effect debuffs are ignored. They have immune to psychology, and they have some physical resist as well. Only 5%, but it's something. And then we have the spear variant on the sides here, just to guard the sides, but that gives them charge reflection and charge defense versus large. And then in the back we have our demonettes, the classic Slaanesh unit. Now these are not used as regular supporting infantry units. See, because of their insane speed, they have 54 speed, and that's insane for an infantry unit. Because of their insane speed, I usually take them on the flank, because they also have this trait here, Devastating Flanker, which means they have a double charge bonus, which will give them a 60 charge bonus when going at the flank or the rear. So I usually use them as a flanking unit to go around the main line and flank enemies in the sides. And in the front here, we have some Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh. Again, these guys are decent. They have the Devastating Flanker attribute as well, but I usually use them just for skirmish cavalry because they're not as good as others. And then of course we have in the middle here Nakari, his big old sword and his greater demon self. And then I also brought along a Chaos Sorcerer Slaanesh with the Lore of Shadows. Lore of Shadows is probably one of the best spell lores ever in the game right now. And then we also have an Alluris with the Lore of Slaanesh to bolster our magic capability, as well as give us a fast action hero that can go in the behind and disrupt the missiles. Alright, so let's get on to this battle against the Beastmen. Alright.
Seeking Slanesh's embrace! Transgression and submission! Marauders of Slaanesh! Finding fresh soul! Finding fresh soul!
Move with grace!
By the hair forged. Pursuing pain.
Right, we're just doing some marauding around them, even though it's not going to do much good. Oh well, we did do some kills. Got some kills on these Ungor hordes.
Souls for Slaanesh!
Nakari moves.
I move.
Let's do slicing shards on these guys here.
Lord of X.
Alright, come on now. Ooh, that's really good to see.
Marauders of Slaanesh!
Alright.
And submission! Marauders!
Alright, we'll take these two, send them out here, and then these two.
Endless craving!
Oh Jesus! Oh no! We're about to lose Nakari. Jesus, man. Jeez.
Moving.
Come on, Nakari. That's a problem. Oh, we're gonna lose Nakari.
I shall dance.
Yeah, we're gonna lose him. He's gonna break. He's gonna disintegrate. Ridiculous.
Son of Slaanesh. Yes.
Demonettes! Sin.
Come on, Nakari. He's gonna die. Yeah.
The divorced ones!
Yep. That's not going to be good. And that's just because we got careless. Yep. And there goes Nakari.
Pain is a gift. It brings excess.
That's not going to help our guys. But on the upside,
Endless craving! Slay them!
Repulsive and alluring.
let's do another slicing shards.
Sorcerer of Slannesh.
Another torment on him. Cause devastating flank for them. And there we go. Let's do our vigor, increase our speed. There we go. That increases our speed and increases our morale a little bit. Even though we lost Nakari. It doesn't matter, because like he's easy to snipe with missiles, like you saw there. We'll still win this battle, even though our lord will be killed. It's fine. We'll still win this battle. See, we still won pretty easily, even with our lord being lost. That just goes to show you how you have to really watch for Nakari, because he's such a glass cannon. He can be killed in an instant. He can do a lot of damage, but he can get killed really easily. So make sure you look out for that, Strat fans. I'm running on very little sleep right now, so I forgot to watch out for that, and it was a little too late to save him. But without further ado, let's get on to a tier 2. All right, all right, guys, and here we are with a tier 2. So a little bit more spicier here now with some Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh, more heavily armored, so they can take better of a hit, and you know, they don't have that many good stats compared to other warriors, Chaos Warriors, but they are really good for Slaanesh, and it's a nice way to, you know, fill out the gaps in Slaanesh's line. Like Slaanesh is a very glass cannon faction, so these guys are a welcome addition with 100 armor. So those are the mainstay of the main front line. In the back, we again have some Demonettes of Slaanesh for heavy hitting power. This time we have them on both of the sides so that they can easily go on the flanks when the enemy comes near. And then in the back we have some Seeker Chariots. These Seeker Chariots are really, really busted. They have poison attacks, magical attacks, as well as anti-infantry. They can be a really good unit, but at the same time, they're really easy to get bogged down in enemy units. You want to keep them going forward. Check out my chariot fever tactic video to see more of that. In the back here, the backpack, we have Hellstriders of Slaanesh, which are a really good cavalry option. They start with Soul Hunters, which is really good. The more the more enemy they kill, they get more damage resistance, up to 10%, which is really, really good. And they have 10% physical resistance, Mark Slaanesh, all of that fun stuff. As well as having 100 speed, they are very, very fast. So, and then we have Nakari here. And then our Aluris is on a Seeker Chariot. And then our Sorcerer of Slaanesh is on a Steed of Chaos. So, without further ado, let's go into this fight against the dreaded High Elves.
Allies for Nakari. Come to Nakari. Let me cleanse your soul from your mortal body.
Searching on.
Seekers!
How delightful.
Hellstriders of Slaanesh!
Nakari.
Deliver unto Slaanesh!
Fluid in motion.
Alright, so we're going to have the Seeker Chariots go right for the archers here.
Sweet kiss. Hellstriders! Shield to our steeds.
Get Nakari out of there. Come on. Get out of there, Nakari. I'm going to have to get him out of there because they're just going to keep firing on him. Alright, let's do some of... No.
Sorcerer of Slannesh.
Wow. Okay. So just my units then, huh? Well, yeah. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Desire granted.
Endless craving. Kill! Kill!
The aesthetics are lethal. Who can I blame? Suffer! Seekers!
Come on, get out of there. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Like I told you, Seeker Chariots have one flaw, and that's that. They get stuck in enemy unit formations really easily. So you have to really micromanage them, or else you're going to lose them.
Sorcerer of Slannesh.
Like I did.
Nakari moves.
So if we go in here now, we should be good.
Speed.
Let's get these guys. Yeah, we're gonna lose these guys, and that's okay because like I said, they're not the greatest option, especially against high elves here. But we will still do a lot of damage to them. Yeah. Yeah, and going in right in is not going to always be the greatest thing to do for Slaanesh. But Slaanesh is really good for catching up to enemies.
Sorcerer of Slannesh.
Alright.
Your desires are
Yeah, we're able to use Nakari a lot better. What is this? Alright, there we go. See, even though we lose a lot those units, we're still going to come out on top because we still know how to use our other units. It's all about the speed. And you're going to lose units because Slaanesh is a glass cannon, so don't get attached to your units. But you shouldn't also expect to keep units. You shouldn't expect to lose that as many, but Slaanesh is in kind of a weak spot right now. Even though they are, like I said, they're really heavy hitting. They have one critical problem, and that's just how easy they are to kill. Well, how easy they are to rout and to lose troops, when really it shouldn't be that easy.
We go. There. Yes. Yes. A perverse indulgence.
Yeah. All right. We just have to make sure we keep getting the. All right. See, chariots can be a little hard to navigate, especially when they have to go against a lot of mass. These seeker chariots don't have as much mass, so they're not able to just plow through units like the exalted seeker chariots are. So they're really not that good. But they're not terrible. They're not terrible at all. It's just they're not great. Alright. And as you see, we lost all three of those units. But in the end, we still completely destroyed them and didn't lose many units of ourselves. That's what I was trying to say with my chariots. If you lose track of them for like even a split second, they could be gone. And what happened there is the enemy converged on them. They couldn't move. They were dead. And I knew it. But you also take that effect that, I'll sacrifice those units, but I'll be able to cast a spell that kills a lot of enemy units as well. So you kind of have to pick your poison with Slaanesh, and sometimes you have to sacrifice units because they're just not going to have the survivability to survive long term. Now, let's go on to a tier 3, and this is when Slaanesh finally starts to shine with all of her strengths. Alright, and here we are with a tier 3, guys. So, for the tier 3, we've really upgraded here, and I've got some Chosen of Slaanesh, which Chosen are just the best. No matter what Chaos God they serve, they're always just the best. With 120 armor and a decent melee defense, they're really good hardline units that I always bring, even if I'm not playing Warriors of Chaos. Like, they fill so well for Slanesh's role and help you get so many victories. Especially as Nakari, you're going to need a dedicated hardline unit. So, now looking behind it, we have some Fiends of Slaanesh. These are very heavy hitters, and I usually can either take these or Demonettes. I brought them both because they both could be pretty good. These and Exalted Demonettes are really good, and these Fiends are really fast. They're at 95 speed, whereas compared to the Exalted Demonettes, 54. They're really insane. They have Sulfuric Musk, which I'm trying to remember what it does. Yeah, it reduces enemy melee defense and attack. And then, of course, they have magic attacks. They have physical resist. They have devastating flanker. They're really good. So, and then we have, accompanying Nakari, we have another Keeper of Secrets. This is the Regiment of Renown version, so it's got a little bit of special stuff. But usually there's really heavy hitters. They're the greater demons of Slaanesh. And then back here, of course, we have the Exalted Demonettes. They have enthralling attacks, which does charmed every time they hit a unit, which reduces their attack to them. So it does help a lot. And then they have Soul Scent, which increases their armor piercing damage up to 50%. And I think it does with every leadership. It does it with every unit that's routing in their vicinity. So even if it's your own units routing, it'll increase the intensity of their Soul Scent. Now in the back here we have Heart Seekers. These Heart Seekers are upgraded shot cavalry. They're really good. They have poison attacks on top of all this, so they're able to do a whole lot of damage to enemy forces when they get in range. They have Soul Scent, and is really good. The Exalted Seeker Chariot is the upgrade version of the other chariots, and these are the only ones that really make it into endgame for chariots because their mass is so good that they're able to just plow through everything. They have Perfect Vigor, which means they'll never tire. They have poison attacks, magical attacks, and a whole heaping load of armor-piercing anti-infantry attacks, which just makes them insane. We've put our Chaos Sorcerer of Slannesh on a Chaos War Shrine, and the War Shrine does damage to entities around it, up to 24 damage per second, depending on how many entities around it have died, or how many entities have died you've killed. We don't have our Aluris because I usually just replace her with a Keeper of Secrets or some bigger hitting monster, and that's pretty much it. So let's get into this battle against the Empire. They've come and attacked us on our turf. We're going to go put them out of their misery, or perhaps put them in misery. We are Slaanesh after all.
Horned one.
Exalted demonets of Slannesh!
Our lives for Nakari. Glorious bloodshed. Savage duty. I need souls.
Oh, we might have to send our greater demons back until we get the other ones put in.
Dark Prince's minions.
Exalted demonets of Slaanesh, seeking sin, bringers of joyous degradation.
Yeah, we're gonna have to send them back
Sorcerer of Slannesh.
until, of course, we get. No!
Indeed.
God damn it! It's not what I wanted. I hate it when that happens to me. Alright, let's get these around to get at their backs.
Heartseekers of Slannesh!
Alright, Heartseekers, get back there. We gotta go attack their artillery and all of that, because that is not looking good.
Sweet kiss!
There we go. That's better.
Moving on.
All right, we need to keep him in the fight.
Keeper.
Now let's get our keepers of secrets in here.
Mighty silent.
Torture sweet kiss!
Kari. Unleash power.
Let's get our secret chariot in as well.
Demonet of Slannesh! Sweet depravity!
There we go. We've wrecked their backline now, so they're doing a whole lot less. Let's get our speed bonus. And we're just able to catch them so fast. And there we go. That's pretty much it. Our speed bonus is going to give us, it's like a big old speed boost.
Heartseekers of Slannesh!
Yeah, speed and vigor replaced.
Attack.
The debauched one! We go!
Didn't even need our other stuff. But the Heartseekers are able to do so much damage to them. Let's run them down for Slaanesh.
Trouble servants of
There we go.
God, yes!
And they just cut them down, and they cut them down so good. Like I said, missiles are pretty much Slaanesh's worst nightmare, are missile units. So you'll want to get units that can get... You'll want to very, very, very heavily favor cavalry so that you can, like, just decimate these missile units. Like what we did right there. We were able to decimate them. Didn't take much casualties, didn't lose a unit. We did take a lot of hits on our shrine, our Chaos War Shrine, but, again, we're able to outmatch it because, again, we got our Heartseekers into position, and it takes a lot of micromanage, and Slaanesh is a micromanage-heavy faction. So if you want to play Slaanesh, you got to learn how to micromanage your units effectively, like I just did there, because your Slaanesh units will have the speed to catch up with your actions. They will have the speed, but you got to get them there. You got to order them there, and you got to make sure you're playing your attacks accordingly, or else you could get stuck out in the open and have a leader sniped instantly just with 4 missile units. You can't tank the missile damage as Slaanesh. You can tank it as any other Chaos faction or any other faction in the game. Really, you can tank the damage like that, but not as Slaanesh. You need to keep them moving, or else you're gonna get owned. So, without further ado, let's wrap this up and go on to the next part.
I am the Arch-Tempter.
All right, Strat fans, and that's how you play Slaanesh. I know it's a little I don't do so well with Slannesh because it's exactly the opposite of my playstyle. It's very heavy micromanage focus. You don't need to. You need to really worry about your unit's placement a whole lot. Whereas I'm used to playing factions like Nurgle or the Dwarves, where you can just tank damage and dish it back out. Whereas Slaanesh, you need to dish the damage first, or else you might be out of work, But anywho, I hope you enjoyed this guide, and again, I thank you guys so much for all the support, and I hope that we keep this channel going. And I'm hoping to, after my wedding, to help to go explore new games, because there's a lot of them I have on my backlog. I just haven't had the time, and I do apologize for that, guys. And I, like I said, this will be the last video till my wedding, so I hope you guys have a really, really good summer. And I will be back on the 7th. Sorry, I will be back on the 17th to start a fresh tactics video, and then I'm hoping to go back to 3 videos a week with the follow-up of our Battalion Wars gameplay. I am going to do a review of that game when we finish our playthrough, and I hope you guys enjoy it all, and I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe to my stuff. I respond to all comments. And I thank you guys for your time today, for watching me. And as always, keep it strategic. Colonel out.